Good afternoon. Welcome to the CI Tools webinar. My name is Josh Osborne and I'm the product manager for the CI Tools here at Central Innovation. And this is a weekly webinar where we look at sometimes new features in the CI Tools, sometimes old features in the CI Tools. Sometimes we look at how to use a tool for beginners or for intermediate or advanced users. We're always looking for ideas for what we could cover in these sessions as well. So if you do have any ideas, please let us know. But yes, welcome today. We are going to be doing the third part in our series on the Doors and Windows tool today. So we're going to be looking at schedule notes. So last week we looked at doors and also creating some schedules. And the week before that, we looked at the window tool. This week, we're going to be creating some schedule notes and then doing some things with those on our schedules so that you can see how you can get those up and running and doing what you want to with those. If you have any questions about any of what we are looking at, just enter those in the chat panel. Or if you've got questions about anything else to do with the CI tools, put those in as well. And if I have time during this session, I'll cover those. And if not, then I'll cover them in a future webinar. With that out of the way, we're going to be working at ArcCAD 27 today, but everything that we're looking at pretty much is available in 26 and earlier as well. There are one or two things that are a little bit different, so I'll mention those when we get to them. But mostly what we're going to be covering is going to be available in most versions of ArcCAD. Just the specific way that it works might be slightly different. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is actually create a door and window schedule for us to add some notes to. So I'm going to go to CI Tools, Doors and Windows, Schedule Manager. I'm going to create a new door and window schedule. So I'm going to include all my doors and windows in this. I'm going to turn on collation with no isolation, and I will leave it to show the exterior sides. I'll get it to show the renovation status and the total collated items. Our dimensions look pretty good. We'll put the datum labeling on there. We'll fit it on an A1 landscape sheet, and that all looks good otherwise. So let's hit OK. We'll let it build that schedule, and then we'll have a look at it. Alright, so here's our schedule. So you can see all of our elevation views of our windows and doors here, all nicely dimensioned, and we've got our little descriptions here telling us the renovation layer that they're on, renovation status rather that they're on, how many items there are and the IDs of them. You can see our datum levels being labelled there, and everything looks pretty good. This one is supposed to be empty because it's an empty door element. Don't worry, that's not a bug or anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some notes to these, because as you can see, we've got all of the information about the windows and doors in terms of their sizing and what status they're on and what their ID is and that sort of thing. We don't have any actual info about the window itself. So for instance, what it's constructed using, maybe what manufacturer it's made by or anything like that. And that's where schedule notes comes in. So schedule notes works quite similarly to how our keynotes tool does. We designed them to look quite similar to each other, so that if you're already familiar with the keynotes tool, the schedule notes should be very easy for you to pick up and run with. So the way that we get to them is from our Doors and Windows menu, same as where we go to the Schedule Manager. This time we're going to get the Schedule Notes Manager. So we'll open that one up, and first of all we'll create some schedule notes. So the way that it works is, again, similarly to the keynotes tool, we have categories, or you could think of them as folders, and notes. So the notes themselves can be contained in categories. So we'll set up a couple of categories first. Let's say finishes. So we just select them in the list here, and then we enter the name here. Go security. Okay, so we've got a couple of categories there, and now we can go through and make a bunch of notes. So I'll just populate a bunch in there with nothing in them, and then we'll put some info in. So let's start with construction. So we'll call this one aluminium, and this one here will be timber. Okay. Good. Plus we've got glazing. Right. Obviously you can use these to do whatever you need them to. They don't need to be structured in the same way that I'm doing here or anything like that. They're just to give you an idea of what we've got. So we've got some notes about the glazing, and then finally security. Okay, so let's throw these into their folders. So we've got finishes. So you can just select those and drag them into where they need to go. We'll put that into construction as well as timber. Put all our glazed ones in. And our security finally. Now you can go multiple folder categories down if you want as well. So inside security you could have a new category called lock type or something like that, and then you could have further notes in there. I'm going to go with a pretty flat structure for now. So that looks pretty good. We'll hit OK. And now we're going to actually put some of these down into our project. So we'll go yet again into the CI Tools, Doors and Windows menu, and this time we're going to open the Schedule Notes palette, and that will give us a floating palette. Again, very similar to the Keynotes tool, and you'll see those notes that we just created are all sitting there, so you can see the categories are acting as sort of folders, and then we've got the notes themselves. So what we can do is we can go and select one of our elements. Let's grab this one here, and we'll say that this one is aluminium construction, aluminium finish. It's double glazed and it has an opening sensor on it. And you can see as I go through and double click on those that it's adding them to this list below, and it's also displaying them in the view here. So the list below here will show us the schedule notes that are attached to any element we have selected. So if I move over to this one here, you'll see this clears out because we don't have anything attached to this one, but this one here shows us the elements that are in it. We can easily remove any from here as well, so we can say actually this one's not going to be double glazed, it's going to be triple glazed, and so we can swap that in that way. You can also grab hold of the arrows here to shift the order that those show, so that you can reorder those in whatever way you need to, and then you can just go through and add a bunch of these notes to whatever you like. So we can grab this window here, we can say this one's timber, double, and this one here, and we get the same sort of thing going on. You can see on the left we are displaying the category name, and then on the right we're displaying the actual note. So if I add multiples of here, even though it doesn't really make sense, you can see that we have our category, and then all of the notes that are part of that category are displayed in a list on the right side there. And if I select this element and go into the settings, I need to go to the actual element, not the schedule element, sorry. So this is 105. So if I go back to my floor plan view, and we're going to look for 105. Okay, we can see 105 is right here. Select that item, open up the settings, and if we look down at CI Tools schedule notes here, you can see that the notes are available here as well. So you can modify the notes that are attached to windows and doors in this view also. So if we go over to, is 106 the other one that we already added things to? Let's have a look. No, so 106 doesn't have any notes in it yet, so we can add them from here as well by hitting the add button. So we can go through and choose triple glazed and this one here, hit OK there, and if I jump back over to my schedule, was item 106 here, I can just update the schedule and it will read through the notes from the actual project. So you can see we now have those two that I added there. So you can go from either direction. You also will have noticed when I was in the floor plan view that we have the option to have a custom note as well. So this one here is to allow you to add a note to your window or door that is not part of your database. So this would be for the cases if you just have a one-off note that you want to show. You don't want to have to create a new note for it or anything. You just want to have a piece of text that appears. Excuse me. You can enter that in as a custom note. So we can go into this one and we can say that this one is whatever it is that we want to say. Hit OK. Come back over here and then we update again. And you'll see that custom information is showing at the top there. So if I select this element now, whoops, if I select the element, you can see that we have this selected notes showing here like we had before, and we also see the custom note up at the top here. And so we can add custom notes to any of these as well. We could come into this one and go add that there. And as we type it in, we see it enter here. Obviously, because we're actually directly working on the schedule, we don't have to update the schedule to bring that through. And if we go through and select that element back in the floor plan, it will now show sample note in that in the note data. So it goes back and forth between each other as soon as you make changes. This is actually newish in, I think it was in ArchiCAD 26, that it goes back and forth without you needing to do anything. If you're using ArchiCAD 25 or earlier, there will be a button in your schedule notes palette. It's got like a little icon of a cube, I think, like an object and an arrow on it, and you need to press that button to send the schedule notes from your actual schedule back to the model itself. So you need to hit that after you make changes to the schedule notes if you're working in 25 or earlier. If you're using the latest versions of 26 or 27, then this is all automatic. You don't have to worry about it. You can just make changes in either the floor plan or in the schedule, and they will sync with each other automatically. One of the other things that we can also do as well is if we want to find the element that we're looking at, we can do that quite easily as well. So you can select the unit here. Let's add a note to it just while we're here, because why not? And we can choose this option here to automatically locate it in a 3D view for us. So you can see it's changed to our 3D window, and we have that item there selected. And if I look in here, we should be able to see that note that I just added to it there. So that will let you easily find items. So if you're looking through your schedule and you can't figure out what this particular window is or what it looks like in the project or anything like that, you can just select it and hit this button here, and it will select that item in your 3D window, so you can see it there now. And if you want to find it in floor plan, you can obviously right click and use the ArchiCAD function, select on floor plan, to jump to the floor plan view of it as well. So it'll let you find it wherever it is in the project quite easily. Now, one of the other things that you can do with schedule notes, obviously annotating your doors and windows is the main reason you will want to do this. However, we do also have the option to automate some of the data that can be shown in those notes using what we sort of call auto text, but essentially it will let us enter certain values as scheduled note items, and they will show actual pieces of calculated data in our schedules. So that might not make a lot of sense just saying it like that, so let's go and have a look at one of these. So we've got a window here. Let's look at 109. And one of the things about Windows which you may have, I think we looked at it a little bit when we were talking about Windows, but you may remember is that we have this glazing panel data here. So this allows us to see some calculated info about the window. So you can see at the moment we have two panels in this window. Obviously one of them's got a repeat in it, but schematically it's two panels. And this can show us the total area, so the total window area here, the total daylit area, the total clear glazed area, and the total vented area here. So you can see that the total area is the largest, obviously, because it includes the entire unit. The daylit area is the area which is which is allowing daylight. The clear glazed area is the area which is clear glass, which overlaps exactly with daylit area because we don't have any doors or anything like that, so that the two values match. And then the vented area is showing us the area which can be vented, obviously. And so on the right side here, you can see that those three are openable, and so this is showing us the amount, or rather the area of that, which is vented by those parts there. So we can control the way that this works here as well. So if I select the left side, for instance, I can say, actually this panel allows daylight, but it doesn't allow, but it isn't clear glaze. So you can see we get our daylight area calculated still same as before, but it's now removed from the clear glazed area. So we could say that this is, I don't know, frosted or something maybe, and that would make that work. Or you can go the other way. You can say that it's clear glazed but not daylight. You can say that it's vented but it's not clear glazed or daylight. Whatever combination of things you need it to be, you can control that here. If it's just a flat solid panel that's not letting through any ventilation or daylight or is clear, you can set it to none and it won't contribute to anything at all. So you can use this to control whatever you need to. So let's say that this one is daylight for now. And then this one on the right is ventilation plus clear glazing, which makes sense because we have clear items and they are openable. So using this setup here to make it calculate the things that you want it to, you can also get these calculations to display in your schedules. So you can see we've got total area, daylight area, clear glazed area, and vented area here. And we can set our area units here as well. If I hit OK there, obviously nothing is going to happen at this point. So what we need to do next is we need to create some auto text. So I'm just going to flip over to my browser in the background here. We have a knowledge base article that has a list of all of the auto text you can use. So you can find what you want to. So if you just head to the CI Tools knowledge base under CI Tools Doors and Windows, there's an article there called Auto Text Schedule Notes. And this has a list of the auto text schedule notes that are available. So you can see there's a handful of those there. The things that we're interested in working with at the moment, you can do any of these. The ones that I want to show at the moment are the schedule items here. So we can see we've got total area, daylight area, clear glazed area, vented area, and U and UA values available here, which are part of the calculation for that. And so this is showing the actual notes that we can use to display those. So let's do a total area and a daylight area, I think. So we'll open up our Notes Manager. This time I'm just hitting this button, but you can still do it using the menu, obviously. We'll make a new category called calculation, and we'll create a new note. I've immediately forgotten what they were. Total area. So total area, put it inside angle brackets, and we'll put an actual bit of text as well. Okay, make another new note, and what was that one again? Daylight area. Okay, we've got that one, and then we'll also do, let's go vented area. Oops. Okay, so we've set up those 3 items there, so we hit OK to save those, and now we can come through here and we can add those just as if they were normal ones. So we can add this, and you'll see that note there. And then we can add some of these, and you'll see the values come through. So we've got a daylight area. So this is the part that I've got written here. I've written out daylight area, colon, space, and then it puts the value in the place of that auto text piece that we dropped in. So we've got 1.23 daylight area, 1.62 total window area, and 0.66 vented area. Those sound right from what we were just doing, but let's go check. 162, 123, 066. Yeah. So those have come through perfectly. So if I make changes to these, so if we go back onto this one on the left here, and we say actually he is let's just set him to the full one there. We go OK, jump back into here. That did not do it. Oh, because I'm showing the daylight area, which I didn't actually change. Let's take them out of that. So we'll go none there, and then that will definitely do the trick. All right. Okay, so now our daylight area has dropped down to very little indeed, but our total window area has stayed the same, obviously. So you can use these and any other ones in here that you might want to use to show you sort of smart information on your schedule notes. So we've got the zones. We can show various bits of the parameters for listing settings. So if you've got a manufacturer set up there or something like that, you can show that in there. And then additional information about the parts that you can set up in those listing areas in your windows and doors. So you can go through and just create those, put them inside those angle brackets, and then put whatever text around them that you want. So for instance, you can see here, this one we've written M2 afterwards, just so that you can see the units. Whatever you want to do to make those show the way that you want, you can do that. So these ones were set up with categories as the sort of title, and then the values like that, so they lay out in that way. You can mix and match that to do whatever you need to, though. I am just going to see if we've got any questions before we finish up. So if you have any thing that you wanted to ask, put that in now. I'll just go through here. All right. All right, looks like no questions today. So that will be the last of this 3-part section on the Windows and Doors tool. So in the next session we will be looking at something new that I haven't decided yet. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. Just email the support desk or create a new support ticket and say, hey, can you please show me how to do whatever it is you really want to know how to do, and I'll cover that off. I won't be here next week, so I'll see if I can get someone else to show something here. Otherwise there may not be a session running here next week. I'm sorry, but after that we will be looking at something new. So if you have any suggestions for that, they'll be much appreciated. But thanks for your time today, everyone. I hope that was informative, and I'll catch you at the next session.